Okay, pillowcase mattress is what we're doing today. So this one is for a little girl. And the first step you want to do is you want to lay out your sheet. And you want to lay it out the right side up. And you want your sheet, you want the top part of your sheet closest to you. So that would be the bottom of the sheet, which is hanging off the bed, and this is the right top part of the sheet where the pillows go. So there's that first step, and on to step 2. Okay, so part 2 is go grab your pillow, and you're going to put it right here at the top of your sheet. Okay, and then you're going to grab one side. It could be the left or right. I'm going to grab this side. Oops, got a cord here, sorry. And you're not going to put it all the way over. You're going to put it about halfway, because you're going to put the other side over, and you're going to kind of create an overlap. So here's this part. Let's see if I can get this right. Okay, I want mine to go about right there. So I have some left over, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to push my pillow back to where it's kind of snug right there. So hold on a second. I'm doing this one-handed. Okay? It's not totally tight. You're just getting a guideline here of where your overlap's going to be, and you're also getting a guide of how wide you need to sew this. So the next part is to grab this over other side and create an overlap. Okay, so I'm grabbing and I'm pulling all the way over. So now it's all the way over. And this is obviously really, really big. I don't need that much. So the next step is I'm going to take this side and I'm going to kind of fold it back on itself to about where I want the overlap. I'm doing this one-handed. Hold on a second. Alright, let's see. So here's this part, and I want it about right there. So about a hand's width. If you were to open your palm, that's about where I'm going. Okay, so here we are with step 2, and we'll move on to step 3 in a minute. Okay, so step 3 is you have your overlap now, and you have your crease of where you need it, and this part over here on this side, well, hold on a second, unplug my cord here, and this part over here on this side of the pillow is also snug because you've pulled this over. So there's that, and underneath, you know, the pillow's underneath all nice and snug. So we've got another step, which is we need to pin right here along where this pillow is, where that crease is going to be, because this is going to be your width of your pillowcase right here. And then if I were to step back, so there's your first crease, and at the end of the pillow is going to be your second crease. So if I were to lift this up, that's what it looks like. And I'm going to put a pin, I can grab one, sorry for the moving around, and if I can grab it, so I'm going to put a pin, one-handed, very difficult. Okay, that's not recommended. Definitely do it two-handed. Okay, so I'm going to put a pin right there because that tells me that when I take this pillow out, that I'm going to fold this part and I'm going to fold that part, and that tells me how wide this is going to be. But before we get there, we need to cut some of this off. Now this is if you're using a bigger sheet, like a full or a queen sheet. I'm not exactly sure. I think this one may be a full. I'm not sure. Could be a queen. And so you have to cut the excess off. Now if you're here and you folded all this and you've got an overlap over your pillow and it's like, let's say it comes like to here, but there's nothing else, then I think that you're totally good. You can hem it if you want, but this part is going to be for people that need to cut the excess off, and you can just fast forward if you don't need that part. So this is the next step right here. I like to give myself a little bit of a leeway as far as cutting. I don't like to cut too much off, so I like to maybe pull this over just a little bit more, just a tiny bit more, because when I cut this, I want to make sure that I've got enough to hem it to kind of put it right back to where I want, because it's going to be about maybe an inch, not an inch, about a ½ inch of hemming. Okay, so then on to the next step from here. Okay, now this next part, you're going to need to go grab your scissors, your sharpest scissors that you have. And then what we're going to do now is you can fix your sheet up a little bit back that way. And what I'm hoping is a lot of times you can rip fabric and it will create a straight line for you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut from here with my scissors to here, because I kind of got to, oh, actually to here. Here's the seam line. So you want to cut over the seam that's already there from your sheet, and then you can rip it. It works with cotton. It doesn't work with all fabrics. Sometimes you can go to rip something and it just doesn't rip at all. But I'm going to see if this works, so let's see. So I cut a little bit of the sheet with my scissors, and then I started to do a little bit of a rip. And this is really, really cool because it's actually working, which doesn't always work. And basically what I'm going to do now is, the cool thing about this is you can rip it and it will create a straight line all the way down the sheet. This is the easiest way to cut this. You do not want to have to cut this by hand. You can cut it by hand. You probably won't get a straight line, but this is the easiest way to get a straight line with a sheet. So I don't know if I can mount this iPod somewhere so you can see it, or maybe I can actually do it while I'm holding the iPod. Let's see if I can do that. Okay, so you guys can actually see how this works. So I'm just pulling, and it's actually creating a straight line. See that? Okay, so I'm going to rip the rest of this, and I will be back and I'll show you. Okay, so I'm done ripping. It went really well, really fast. That's great. That's what we want. And now we can just kind of fold this back over the top to finish up our little guideline. And so now we know that that's how it's going to look when it's finished. So we got and we have our marking, our little marking right there. And we have our little marking right there for the crease. And we have our overlap. Now the next step here, before you start getting to you want to make sure you keep these pins here because this is your guideline. So when you put the pillow back on, you know exactly like where to go from, your next step. But for now, we have a very long process of hemming this sheet. So I will have to charge my battery for that so that you guys can see how I hem this. I do have a serger. If you have a serger, I'll show you how to do that too, and serge it before you hem it. If you don't have a serger, this might be a two-step process for you. You will have to do a zigzag stitch all the way down your sheet, or your sheet will fray. And then after you do your zigzag stitch, after you've done all that all the way down, then you're going to fold it as you are sewing, and then you will top stitch this. Well, actually I don't like top stitching. I actually do it this way. You just go like this to your sewing machine after you've zigzag stitched, and then you hem it and you sew that all the way down. So I will show both processes how you can do that, and I will do so I'll do the hemming with the zigzag foot first, and then I will show you the easier way, which is the serging way, and then the hemming. Okay, for that I'll have to wait for my battery to my camera to load since I will need both my hands. All right.